So we should begin. Welcome to Write Now, your daily 30-minute writing workout for the next 2 weeks, or just under 2 weeks now as we're on day 2. Today, the theme is space. Exploring what it means to have spaciousness in your writing on the page, in the process of your writing. Space. Lots of amazing people in the house. Kai, man, it's been way too long. Now, people are going to get me gassed and emotional, so I'm going to try to even not look at the comments so that I can provide a cohesively put together workshop for the next half an hour. So, welcome to Write Now. Today's theme is space. Every day we have roughly the same structure, but the prompts change. So I will share a poem with you that explores the theme. Yo, my brother Mike is in the house. We'll then do a 3-minute free write off the back of that poem, which I post the poem about an hour or two before the workshop if you want to be a geek and look at it prior. We then do 10 back-to-back speed poems. We take some communal breaths, and then I give you some editing homework that you can choose to take home or not, as the case may be. So I'm doing this 2-week period because I've been commissioned to write a new play for High Tide. If you don't know them, go check them out. So many amazing people in the I'm getting gassed up just looking. I'm getting really, it's a lot. It's intimidating looking down at the people coming into this chat right now. I'm blushing. Let me calm myself down and read a poem. So I've been reading this book, Dark Emu, which is about Aboriginal Australia and the birth of agriculture. And it starts with a little quote. There's this little bit at the beginning, and that's basically an Aboriginal star constellation. And there was just this really cool quote, and it says, so basically that's called the Dark Emu, and it's made out of the negative space between the stars. And there's this little quote that says, Europeans stare at the stars, but Aboriginal people also see the spaces in between. And I thought that was really profound and cool, this idea that in the West, we connect the dots to each other to make a shape. But actually in Aboriginal culture, they look at the negative space between the stars to make a shape. And that in and of itself being a kind of philosophy, which I thought was really cool. So I kind of want to take that theme today in terms of how we think about space when we write, whether that be in the process or on the page. So the poem I'm going to share with you for our first free write, yo, Riyadh, love you, miss you, is called Encasement Storage E. And I have it's on the Poetry Foundation website, and there's a recording of Rusty Morrison reading it. So what I want you to do is, hopefully you'll be able to hear it okay, I'm going to play it from my laptop, and I want you to just really focus on breathing as you listen to it and experiencing it. And I'm going to try and do the same. Maybe I can get an image of it up, if I can remember how to do that, so you can read it if you want as well. The whole thing. There you go. You can see it as well now. So I'm going to play this. I'm being so techie. Oh my God. This is our first prompt poem. Let me know if you can hear it okay. Even I can't hear it yet. If this doesn't play, I'm going to be absolutely fuming. Any of you that have done workshops with me before really know that I have a very grandma relationship with technology. Okay, I don't think it's going to work, so I'm going to read it. And I can't actually see your comments because they're all coming up as white. Anyway, we've wasted enough time. If you want to listen to it, go on the Poetry Foundation website. I'm going to read it, try and breathe, and think of spaciousness as I share it with you. Yeah? This is Encasement Storage E. And there's a little quote, actually, underneath it that says, "What is at first a bodily impression turns out to be a condition of knowing." It's an interesting sentence. What is at first a bodily impression turns out to be a condition of knowing. In the airport terminal, I sit down in a row of chairs without looking at the man in the chair beside me. My chair is adjacent to a narrow formica table where I set the coffee and muffin I've bought. I'm tempted to look at the man sitting on the other side of the Formica table, but I do not want to take the chance and meet his eyes. A familiar animosity must be what warns me off. Warnings that I realise are chewable, I'm learning are better swallowed. I watch how this man expresses affront towards me without interrupting his focus on his cell phone. The Formica table between us isn't wide enough for him to have the distance from me he requires. This next sensation has nothing to do with what he knows, though I react as if it could. His disgust is my own, as I lie on my side, my knees to my chest. In a bed, I am a child with my mother, her body moving, her body wrapped too close around me. Nothing about this should surprise me. Nothing is the space between one breath and the next, even if the space is decades long. Work out how to take this down. Can I do that? Yes, my face is here again. Wicked. So that was Encasement Storage E by Rusty Morrison. We're now going to do a 3-minute Freewrite off the back of that. So if you've never free-written before, just get that down. How do I get that down? Go away. So if you've never free-written before, the idea is just don't stop writing, which is interesting in this particular instance because I also want you to think about space. That might mean space on the page. Maybe you're leaving huge gaps between what you say, but that should be active. Try and really breathe as you're free writing. Feel that breath, because I often hold my breath when I'm free writing, and it's interesting to see what happens when you breathe. Caius, yes. I want you to breathe, think about space. In that poem, it was interesting. It was actually all one sentence, but she kept using ... an ellipsis. So maybe you can play around with that as a form. If you've got any questions, let me know while I get up our 3-minute timer. And if you want to use the title from our inspiration poem, the poem that we just heard, just made that up, it's Encasement, and then in brackets, storage space E. Get that all set up. So just 3 minutes of free writing. If you use the title, make sure you reference Rusty Morrison and say it's after her. You don't have to use that title. The main thing is 3 minutes of writing as freely as possible, exploring spaciousness. Let's go. Okay, your 3 minutes is up. I definitely forgot to breathe a few times, but I always forget how much I love playing with space. And, you know, I was thinking about space two ways then, both the spaciousness of breath as we write and considering writing space. Writing doesn't just mean words, sometimes it means considering the space. Cool, so now we're going to go into our speed writing section, which is writing 10 poems back to back. If you're new, I'll explain what that means. So this is an exercise inspired by the amazing poet Roger Robinson. It's an exercise he's done with me before. And basically, you've got 1 minute to write each poem. I say poem, could be a bit of a song, could be a scene, could be a bit of an academic essay. Whatever your form is, you can choose it. Each of them could be different, but it has to be 6 lines long. That could be the same word over and over again 6 times if you want it to be. It's totally up to you, but it has to be 6 lines. I'll give you your title. Yep. So basically, well, I'm doing it as well. So I'll say the title, then you write 6 lines. When your minute's up, I'll say the next title, then you'll write 6 lines. You have to write 6 lines. This exercise really works on that sense of urgency, that sense of I saw this quote the other day that was like, oh, art should only be comfortable. If it's like a fart, if it's hard, then it's wrong. And I'm like, I could not disagree with that anymore. I really think that writing is like the gym. Like, if it's easy, if it's not challenging you, you're not growing. Yeah, there's such a thing as like picking up a weight that's too heavy when you're not ready and throwing out your shoulder. But if you're not increasing the weight, then you're going to plateau and just be comfortable. So try and lean into any discomfort that you're having. Bogdan Piasecki says, shit your way to greatness. If you're not writing shit, you're not learning, you're not growing. And often you think it's shit when you're writing it, but actually, I'm surprised when I look back. Let me stop rambling. 10 poems, 1 minute for each poem or piece of something. If you want to challenge yourself, do more than 6 lines, but you have to do at least 6. A bonus challenge is to just try and keep that sense of breath and space within this. Again, just extend that sense of space. And maybe play around with that tool that we saw from Rusty in the previous poem, which is maybe make it all one sentence and use an ellipsis, a dot, 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 a dot, dot, dot. Maybe play around with that as a tool for spaciousness as well. Any questions, let me know while I get us set up. Take a sip. Cool. Let's go. Your first title is Enlightened and Uneducated. Enlightened and Uneducated is your first title. You've got 1 minute to write 6 lines of something starting now. Let's go. Okay. Your next title is Don't Stand There Blubbering. Don't Stand There Blubbering is your next title. If you just jumped in, pick up a pen, write some 6-line poems in 1 minute. Your next title is Don't Stand There Blubbering. You've got 1 minute to write 6 lines of something starting now. Don't stand there blubbering. Okay, your next title is A Dark Shape. A Dark Shape is your next title. You've got 1 minute to write 6 lines of something with the title A Dark Shape. Okay, your next title, I'm forgetting to breathe, reminder to breathe. Your next title is Misrepresented. Misrepresented is your next title. You've got 1 minute to write 6 lines of something with the title Misrepresented. Spaciousness, let's go. Misrepresented. Okay, we're nearly halfway, guys. You're doing really well. Lean into the discomfort. Your next title is An Alternative. An Alternative is your next title. You've got 1 minute to write 6 lines of something with the title An Alternative. An Alternative. Let's go. Writing some weird stuff. Shit your way to greatness. Your next title is From Beast to Man. From Beast to Man is your next title. You've got 1 minute starting now. From Beast to Man. Okay. Your next title is God Save the ... If you just jumped in, you can still write some poems. God Saved the ... is your title. You've got 1 minute starting now. Okay, only 3 more to go. You've got this, or if you just jumped in, why not write 3 poems today? Your next title is Empty, but in inverted commas. So empty land. Empty land. And your 1 minute to write 6 lines of something with that title starts now. Let's go. Writing some very weird stuff. Only 2 more to go. Your penultimate title is Entitled. Entitled is your penultimate title. You've got 1 minute to write 6 lines of something with the title Entitled. Let's go. Okay, 1 more. I'm going some places I've never gone before, and I don't know if it's brilliant or terrible, but that's a good place to write from my experience. Remember to breathe. Your final title for today is Wild Waste. I love a bit of alliteration. Wild Waste is your final title. You've got 1 minute starting now. Let's go. Okay. Time is up. Time is up. Whew. It takes a lot out of you, huh? Writing that fast. So whether you got the standard of 11 pieces of something, or you just got one, or you just thought about getting one, well done. Well done for showing up. I always say write like it's gym. These can feel like very new movements, very new weights. Really intense session. I feel like the breath, reminding yourself of the breath, kind of like slows me down in a way that kind of becomes slow-mo somehow. Can see that someone's writing their poems into the chat. Try and write it in your own stuff, because I'm worried these comments don't come up when I save it. So Rational Madness, make sure you screenshot what you're writing so that you can keep it. I'm way too dyslexic to read all of that and speak at the same time, but I'm glad that you're writing stuff. Thank you so much. I hate it and love it too. I'm in such like a weird grumpy mood at the moment, but I'm trying to just do the work. I'm going to give you some homework, some editing homework that you can choose to do or not do. But let's take our breaths together first. So try and get your feet grounded on the floor. I'm actually a bit too tall. My chair was a bit too tall, so I couldn't reach the ground. Feet flat on the ground. Try and root in, have a nice straight spine. Maybe hands on your legs or on your stomach. We're going to go in through the nose and out of the mouth. We're going to do 4 breaths together. We're going to breathe in for 4 and exhale out of the mouth. Inhale through the nose for 4, exhale out of the mouth for 8. So we're going to go in and out. In and out. In and out. And in. And out. Always get a spine crack when I do that. Sometimes my clavicle pops. We're running over by 2 minutes as always, so let me give you your editing homework. So this editing homework, more and more I'm going to try and give you editing tasks that you can apply from what we wrote today, or you can apply to something else that you're working on. There's a lot of people I know are in these sessions that are working on bigger projects, like I am, and are using this to just get some focus time on that project. So you can apply this to anything that you've written today that you like. Always suggest you go and read out loud what you've written, maybe to someone you trust, and ask them to tell you what they loved. Don't get them to be critical at this stage, because you wrote each of these things in 1 to 3 minutes. So it's good to know what's good of what you can write in that time. So editing tasks, spaciousness. Sometimes when I'm stuck with editing and I don't really want to write anything new, I really think about space. So I'll go through what I've written. Always good to do this in a separate document, to copy and paste everything into a new editing document, because what I want to do is make a version where I just cut as much as humanly possible. Maybe cut it by half, maybe play around with space on the page. So really start playing around with where the words are positioned, and maybe say use the whole space of the page. Sometimes I print it out, cut it up, chuck out the bits that I don't like, and then stick it down. I might even have an example in this book, because I do it literally all of the time. Just print stuff out and cut stuff out and print it around. I just find as a dyslexic person, it's really handy as a way to be a bit more kinesthetic with how you're working. Maybe make a blackout poem where you print out what you've written and just cross out the bits that you don't like. Play around, make versions, play with space. That's your homework for today. Ran over by 3 minutes, I'm so sorry. But I'll be back tomorrow, 12 till 12:30. Thank you so much for joining me. enjoy your day, and I hope you can enjoy your space. Take care.